Okay, so I think we'll just start. Good day, guys. Welcome to today's office hour. I was hoping to wait for people to join in, but we will just start. Can you hear me? Just give me a response if you can hear me. Okay, so we will just go on with what we have today. So we have just one question and then we'll go into loops. We started with conditionals yesterday, and that was on Tuesday. We started with conditionals. We did something on that was yesterday on Thursday, and we were supposed to conclude with loops today. Okay, so I'll just go through the question that we have, and then we'll go over to what we have for today. So the question is saying number 6, or the task number 6, the options is not clear enough. Okay, and then I'm just looking at number 6, and I think the options are quite clear. Your idea is you have to know for certain which of the options or which of the statements is not true. You have to know for certain which of the statements or statements is or are not true. Okay, basically. So once you can be able to pinpoint that these statements or these statements are not true, you'll be able to get the answer. So that I think they're clear enough. Pardon the way the question was said, pardon the way that it seems like jam, but it's meant to ensure that you test your knowledge if you really know it, okay? If you really do know it, you would get it there, definitely and obviously, okay? And we will go to what we have. So I'll be sharing my screen. We'll continue from where we stopped yesterday. We started with arrays yesterday. We're meant to take it on along to loops. Okay, so I believe you can. Option C is controversial. Yeah, that's the whole idea of the question. It was supposed to spring up controversies, but the truth is, when on Monday we'll do the correction, and then you basically know that the question was clear enough. Okay, so we would start with loops. Okay, and I would just want us to go through what we have here first, and then we'll just go to Replit and we'll do some coding, okay, about loops. So like we said yesterday, loops are basically when you want it's a block of code or a line of code to run repeatedly, okay? When you want to withdraw your ATM, you put your ATM to the ATM machine. Basically, what goes on there is a for loop. Okay, sorry, it's a loop, not necessarily for loop. Okay, pardon me, it's not necessarily a for loop, but a loop is going on there. Okay, so you put in, it reads, okay, and then after it reads, you have to type in your PIN. Once you type in your PIN, okay, what goes on there is a loop. You type this, on that customer comes, and that customer does not continue from where you stop. Is almost the same information that you are requesting for, almost the same activity the ATM machine is performing again and again and again and again. So that whole idea of slotting in the ATM, your ATM, and the machine reads your ATM, and be able to say, okay, hello, Samuel, this is the owner of the ATM. So that hello, Samuel is a for loop. Because when it's the Jacinta, it will say hello Jacinta. It's not going to say welcome Jacinta, hello somewhere. You know, it's not, they're not different codes, just that same code. But what is just what differs in the code is the name of the card holder, or the name of the person in the card, or that is on the card. That's what's going to differ, and that you can be able to use variable basically to be able to change the name every time that code is being run. Okay, so it's a loop. So sorry, the most common type of loop is for loop. That's why you hear me say for loop. But really, it's not. I'm not saying it's a for loop, but it's a loop. Okay. So basically, I will just give an example of how this whole loop thing. So if I want to console.log this, okay, NodeJs masterclass. Normally I would, if I want to log this 5 times, normally I would paste this 5 times. Okay. Okay. I'll paste it 5 times and then it will run 5 times. Okay. But it's kind of hectic. You know, it's running the code over and over repeatedly, and you have to paste it 5 times for it to run five times. This is where loops now come in. Okay. So there are different types of loops. Okay, I'll just write the types of loops here as a comment. Okay, so we can proceed. For better still, I'll write it here. I would like to be the beginning. So we have different types of loop. We have for loop. We have for off loop. We have for in loop. We have while loop. We have do while loop. And then we have loops for higher function loops, okay, where we have maps, okay, basically mapping, but maps, and then we have for each, okay, for each loop. So these are like different kinds of loop that we have. So we'll just go through them one by one. So using this example that I gave about console.log NodeJs master class, if we want to shorten this using a for loop, what we'll do is we want to print this thing 5 times, but we don't want to write it out 5 times like we did here. What we did is just to remove this, and I will just do for. So this is an example of for loop. I'm taking the first one, for loop. For, let me say, let's I is equals to 7. Okay. Okay, sorry. Equals to 0. Okay. That reminds me, there are different parts of a for loop, okay, of a standard for loop. There are different parts to it, or a loop. There are different parts to it, but basically for loop, there are different parts to it. So I'm going to explain that right away. Okay, so we have the first statement. Okay, let's run this first. Okay, let's run this first. Let's run this first. So sorry, I did 7 here, but I think the problem was to do it 5 times. So I will just make it 5 here. Okay, and we will try to run it. It's one, and it gives us number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. So it's run 5 times. You see how that long line of code, 5 up to like how many lines of code, 5 lines of code have been compressed into basically 3 lines of code. If we remove this, this can be like this. This, in fact, we can shorten it to 1 line of code, basically like this. Okay. The same thing. We can remove this and try running it. Still works. Okay. So you can remove the curly braces, but I like putting the curly braces for readability, not because of anything, for readability. Okay. It's easier to read with curly braces. Okay, just know non-programmers, basically for collaboration, especially when you have junior developers, you have senior developers, you have mid-level developers all working on the same projects. For collaboration, it's just good you basically let these things show, basically, or be there. It helps everyone, no matter what, to know what is going on. So I'll just explain what's going on here. So we have the keyword for. That tells us it's going to be a for loop. So what comes in is for and then brackets. Okay. The first element that it comprises of is your iteration. Okay, because it's like I'm going to be going through a set of numbers. Okay, it's already telling me numbers. Okay, I'm going to be going through a set of numbers. So it's basically where it's going to start from. I'm initializing the variable I. Okay, initializing the variable I. And initializing the variable I is basically saying, where will it start from? Where am I starting from? Okay, the start point. And I'm saying start from 0. Okay. This other one in the middle, this other one is basically, note they are separated with a semicolon. Each is separated with a semicolon. Okay, so the other one, like the other statement, basically, but you can say this is statement, they're separated with a semicolon. So you can say they are statements. They can stand on their own. I can move this and put it here to stand on its own. If I can move this one and put it here to stand on its own. They can basically stand on their own. But this depending on this kind of, okay, that's the relationship. So this tells us the condition. This tells us the starting point. This other one, that is I less than 5, tells us the condition. Okay, so I want to start at I equals to 0. Do this if I. Okay, you will continue to run the code as long as, okay, let me like that. Okay, so you will start from I equals to 0, and you will continue to run the code as long as I is less than 5. If I is less than 5, run the code. If I is less than 5, run the code. If I is less than, if I is equals to 5, do not run it. If I is greater than 5, do not run the code. But as long as I is less than 5, the code should run. As far as it starts, note I'm starting from 0. I'm not starting from -1. I'm not starting from -2. I'm starting from 0. So the code will only run from 0 to 4, because it's less than 5, not less than or equal to 5. It's less than 5. So you need to start from 0 to 4. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think this is not okay. Okay. And the last condition here, basically, the last statement here is increment. Okay. How are we increasing it? Are we increasing it by 2 by 2 basis? Are we increasing it as even number? That is 2, 4, 6. Okay. Are we increasing it by 3? on a tree basis, like grouped into trees. For this code, we're increasing it by 1. Okay. I plus plus means you are increasing it by 1. So it's going to start from 0. The code will start from 0. So this is how the code runs. Okay. For I equals to 0, as far as I is less than 5, we will run. It will go from I equals to 0 first. And I is less than 5. It runs. It works. It adds 1 to I. So I becomes 1. So basically what happens is I is initially, at the start of the, I is initially 0. And then after the code runs, and it consoles.log NodeJs masterclass, that is this first one, the number 1, it goes, I is equals to I plus 1. And that's equals to 1. I is 0. So I equals to I plus 1 is 0 plus 1. And that is 1. It runs the code. If is I equals to 1 less than 5, yes, it runs the code. It outputs this. It now increases it. I equals to I plus 1. Already I plus 1 is already 1. So I plus, that means, yeah, this I now is now 1. Because this I is 1. This I is 0. This 0 comes here. 0 plus 1, 1. Now this 1 comes here. 1 plus 1, 2. Is 2 less than 5? Yes, it runs this. It outputs it in the console. You do it like that, basically, until we get to I equals to I plus 1, okay. And let's say we already, okay, let me just take, since it's just 5, we'll just do everything so that you won't get confused. So this is sorry, I equals to 1, I equals to 2. Here, I is equals to 3. I equals to I plus 1. Here, I will be equals to 4. Okay. And then it will try running again. I equals to I plus 1, and which is I equals to 5. But as at when it does the iteration, and that this iteration, sorry, this increment, and I is now equals to 5, it checks, is 5 less than 5? No. So it doesn't work. It doesn't output. This line of code doesn't work. It just stops there. Okay? It stops there. You can just say break. Very important. Okay. With break, I can basically stop the code after the first run. So what it does, it consoles.log the first time, and then with break, it stops the code there. And anywhere it sees break, it stops the code at that point. Okay. We will just go further to see if we can say instead of just putting break here, we can say if I is equals to 5, then break. Okay. It's run 5 times and it breaks. Okay. This is just to ensure that the loop is not running. Basically, this is best practice. Okay, best practice. Because without this, it's more like without this, it's more like the loop is still running, but it's not outputting anything because this condition is not met. Okay, just because this condition is not met. But we want to exit. When you want to exit the loop, like exit it fully, not just depending on the condition alone. You want to just exit the loop. That's when you now add this break and this thing. Just for like you can put it a two-factor authentication. It's just like two-factor authentication. So you have the first authentication, which is this condition, and then you have the second authentication, which is this. Okay. It can also help you in debugging, but sometimes this can be correct, this is not correct, and that can help you to debug. Okay, but normally when you are debugging, if you add these two together, when you are when you are typing it firstly, like you're just starting to type the code and you just add the two, you may run into errors because one may be wrong, the other may be correct. So it's needful that you remove this one at first. Okay, you run the code, see how it works before you add this. Okay, so that's for loop. Okay, so we will go into for off. The next loop we'll be looking at for off. For us to go into for, well, before we go into for off, just like an application of this for loop. Let's say we have names of, we have an array called names, and we want to, I'll have an array called names of participants. Okay, and then we'll basically write the names, do this. Aaron, Abdul, Ronaldo, Messi, Saka. Okay, so I'll just edit this. Let make it names of best footballers. Okay, I know people will come from my head right now. Haaland. I think this way the way they spell it. Mbappe. Okay. Okay. For your information, this is Gabriel Jesus. Okay. Okay. So we have basically an array called names of best footballers. Okay. Okay. Name of best footballers, and then we want to iterate through. Sites can be able to give us the names of these footballers. Okay. We want it to give us the names of these footballers. So normally we can just say console.log names of best. Okay, I think instead of just saying it, let's do it. Console.log of best footballers. Okay, so I know people already coming from my head. I can see it on the chat box. Well, let's continue. Okay, so it gives us basically it outputs, gives us the outputs. But if we want to use for loop to do this, it's going to be now it's still going to be still console.log names of footballers, but we want to put it to make sure that, how would I put it? Like I said, extra layer of authentication. Make sure when we are using these names of best footballers, when we're using this array, it does not give us any error at some point. We can just enclose everything in a for loop, especially when we want to the code to run repeatedly. Okay, so we can just say for let's I equals to 0, like we said earlier, and then we say I is less than names of footballers dot length. We made mention of the dot length method, which is used to get the length of the of an array. Okay, and then for this we want to do this. So copy this code and paste it here, and let's try running it. Okay, we have a syntax error. Sorry. Okay, so instead of comma, we're supposed to put a semicolon here. Tells us syntax error. Okay. So it runs it and it gives us 5 times. It runs it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's 6. There are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. So it runs it 6 times, starting with index 0, 5 times, starting from 1, 6 times. Okay, basically. So we will just retain this. We will retain the array and try using the for of. We are going to the next type of loop, for of. Okay, for of is basically uses this the construction. Okay, it's slower than the for loop. It's slower than the for loop, but can be efficient sometimes. In terms of code writing, it's shorter. It's a shorter version. So let's say for name of, so this is for of. That's why it's called for of loop. Okay, for names of best footballers. Okay, do this console.log I'll just sort of copying, typing again. Okay. So you see, it still runs that number of times. And you can see that this code seems shorter than this code. And since it's only just one line of code, like I said, you can shorten it. You can shorten your code, basically. Remove the curly braces, okay? Carry this one here. Okay, just because if we extend it like this, take it to enter at some point. Okay. Okay, you can see it's entered. Okay, it's basically one line of code. Okay, and if we run it, it still gives us the same thing, no errors. Okay, so that's for the for of. I know this class I was supposed to do a more application related example, but I'll give that example. I want a very, when I'm doing the application related example, I would look for a problem, Okay, I'll look for a problem and we'll solve it together on Monday. On Monday, we have 2 hours in our office hours, so we'll probably have enough time to go through that. Okay, I'll just pick up a problem and we'll solve it together. Okay, we'll solve it together. So the next loop we're looking at is for in. We'll be faster now, but time is against us. For in loop. For in loop is usually used, is best used when you are using an object. Okay. First, let's say I don't know how they. Okay. What are we going to take? Okay, banks. Okay. So what we want to do is note we objects use key value pairs. Okay, key value pairs. So the first thing we will say is with this work banks. Okay, with this work, let's just say countries and their capital. Just like we have state and capital. Okay, countries and their capital. So we will use Nigeria. So the first thing is country. Okay, let's say countries. Okay, the name of the object is countries. So country, key value pairs, like I said, and so this is the key country. The value is Nigeria. Okay. Why is it giving me an error? Capital. Abuja. Okay. Okay. I think that's clear. Yeah, identify expected. The key value pair. So okay. Capital is a string. I put everything in. Let me double check. This okay. But basically, okay, I don't know what's going on, why it's giving me errors. Whether it's because I don't know why it's giving me these errors. Coming at them, this is a try script. Okay. I'll just welcome you to my debugging world. Welcome. Okay. Anytime I'm not unsure about something, this is what I would do. This is what I would do, and then try expression. Okay. And then try I thought as much about moving the country, the quotation marks on, but let's try it. Country and capital. Okay, I think that works. I think that works. It gives me error. Okay, it gives an error. It gives an error. Oh, thank you. Equal sign. Equal sign. That is it. As easy as that. So I think we've already gotten the answer to this. But let me see what they have to say here. Okay, so this is it. Equal sign. You're right. Thank you so much, guys. So we will continue. Okay. Even the best of the best, we still use Google. Don't okay, so we still use Google basically. So let's try the for in statements. Okay. So let's say uh for normally we'll say for country, I want it to basically but let's say for key, let's use key. For key, this can be anything, any name you choose. You can put it here, but when you're writing this, it's like you're creating a variable with the name key. Okay, you're creating a variable with the name key, basically. But for key in countries, this is what I want to do. I want to console.log countries key. Okay, and let's run this code and see what it gives us. Okay, so it gives us Nigeria, Abuja. Okay, Nigeria, Abuja. So key value pairs, it just basically gives us whatever it's here. Basically, you can that one of the use cases of the for in loop. Very important. Okay, for us to know that. The next one we'll be looking at is while loop. While loop. Okay, while loop is done differently because for the for loop, remember everything, the condition, the initialization, the increment, all of them are within the for loop brackets, okay, or the for of loop brackets. Everything is just inside one. But when we enter into the while loop, it's a little bit different. So let us say, your initialization goes out, is outside the loop. Your initialization is always outside the loop for while loop, okay? Then while, this is now when we want to enter the while loop. While I is less than 5, just do a very simple console.log I. Okay. So what is saying that we've initialized this, created a variable I, and we say I is equal to 0. But what we're not saying is, okay, while I is less than 5, we want to output I. So we want to look for all values of I as far it is equals to 0 and, okay, or as far it is equals to 0 and it is less than 5. Okay, so this is basically the while loop. And then if we run this code will continue running over and over and over and over again. I don't want to run it now, but I think it will cut off our time. Before I'll look for how to exit the code and all that. I don't want to go into that. So I will just, and then the increment, that last, this last factor, the increment comes last, basically. The increment comes last. So console.log, then the increment, and then let's run it. So this is it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. As far I is less than 5, you see it works. So I is equal to 0, I is less than, so while I is less than 5, we should console.I. So it starts from 0, I is equal to 0. Console.log I will give us 0. I is, then the increment comes in +1. So I is equal to 1 now. I is less than 5. That's 1 is less than 5. So if console.log I, it gives us 1. The same thing, it increased to 2. That's I is equal to now 2 now. So 2 is less than 5. Console.log I, that's how it goes until it reaches 4. And then when it reaches 5, it increases to 5. But it now comes here and say I is less than 5. So it does not run at all. Okay. That's what happens for this code. Okay. We can also add that breaking how will I put it? Breaking functionality here. So if I say if I is equals to 3, okay, break. I'll remove this from here. And I'll put it here. Okay, so let's try running it. So you see, it breaks at I equals to 3. So once I is equals to 3, it breaks. And that's why I equals to 3 is not being logged. You can see it just stops at 1, 2. Okay, it just breaks. But we would let us see a better use of this break. Instead of breaking, let us say continue. And let us increase this to like 10. Okay. So while it, and let us put this at 5. While equals to 5, continue. Let's see what this does. Okay. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. When I is equals to 5, it does not log it. We are saying continue. So it just goes from 4 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is very helpful when you want to omit a particular number from a series of number when you want to omit a particular index or an element of an array in when you have array of numbers or array of strings, and you just want to omit a particular number, the element of array with this particular index, okay, or stuff like that. That's where it is very, very helpful. So, okay, I just want to continue. Okay, do while loop is almost similar. We're already out of time. Do while loop is also similar, but I will just use this code. I will just use this code instead of writing a new code. I will use this code for do while loop. So what do while loop is saying is the code runs at least once. So I'll put all these in the do loop and remove this bracket. So what I'm saying is do this while I is less than 10, okay? While I is less than 10. Let's go. So you can see it gives us the same output. But from this statement, you cannot really see the peculiarity of a do while loop. But let's make this 0 and let's comment this out because it's like we are not going to be needing it. Okay, so let us run it. You see that it runs at least once. I is not less than 0, but it runs at least once. And that's why you can see 1 here. Before it encounters the condition, it has already run. But now we're already console.log whatever we want to console.log. Like I said, JavaScript, it runs from top to bottom. So it is do I increment console.log. So it already console.log already before it now enters wire. So it already basically run this code, what it's supposed to run. So it will run at least once. Okay. When you want the code to run at least once, before it now start checking for different the condition in which the code will run, you use the do while loop. The last loop we'll be looking at and considering will be the for each loop. Okay, for each loop. As we go further, we will see the need for that for each loop mapping. These are loops we'll be using more often in NodeJs. Okay, this they call them greater basically higher functions loop. Okay, higher function loop. That's what they call this this next set of loops. Okay, mind you, what we did here, yes, what we did here in this for of is this. When you see something like name of something on something, the same thing we did here. Okay, the same thing we did here, key in countries and all that, or the basically name of this. What this is what we call the construction. Okay, we'll learn more about it as we go further. So we deconstruct the array, and then that's how we were able to pull it off. Okay, but we'll talk more of that as we proceed in the program. Okay, so the higher function, this thing we're looking at, I would like to use an existing, okay, what do you have an existing array? What do you have an existing array? So what I want to do is names of names of best footballers dot for each footballer. This is why we call it higher functions. So are they using arrow functions? Arrow functions is a higher function. You may not be able to, you may not just disregard the syntax now, okay? Disregard the syntax now, just try to understand what we're trying to do. Just know it's a higher function. We will encounter that, I think, later in the program. But even if we don't encounter that in the program, just know there's something called higher functions in JavaScript, and you can learn it on your own basically too. Okay, they call them higher functions. So what we want to do is console.log, and what we want to log is footballer. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm getting the footballer. So let's run this code. So it gives us Jesus, Alan, Mbappe, Ronaldo, Messi, and Saka. Okay, so it's named for each of these. We are creating a new variable called footballer. Okay, with this. Okay, but what we're saying, we're calling it for each let's say function, higher function loop. We are calling it for each higher function loop. So the names of best footballers array. And what we are saying is simple. Just give us the names of the footballer. Just give us this footballer. Store whatever the product of this, okay, for each. Store it in the variable called footballer, and then console.log footballer. And that's what we basically find here. So that's basically it for loops. Okay, loops. Let's just see what this has to say. Basically, everything we talked about. Okay, we have while loop, loops an array that majorly used in array. Okay, we already did this. Okay, let's see if we can do the post. I think we have 3 minutes more. Which part of a loop would you need to modify to increment its iteration by 5? So we have condition, counter, and iteration expression. I know I didn't give you the specific name, but you should know. The first one, this is the counter, this is the condition, this is initialization of the iteration, this is the iteration, condition, counter. So the answer here will be count. Okay. So sorry. I'm giving the wrong explanation. This is the counter. Okay. This is the iteration expression. This iteration expression, but basically adding to it. Okay. Let's go to the second question. What's the difference between a while and a for loop? A for loop has a counter and iteration. What I said is where while only has a condition. A while has a counter and iteration. Where for loop can only has a condition. They are the same, just an alias of one another. Okay. So what's the answer? I'll just give you time. For me, the answer is this, and that's correct. Given the code for I equals to this, how many iterations will it perform? Okay. So I is equals to 2. It will perform for I equals to 1. It will perform for I equals to 2. It will perform for I equals to 3. It will perform for I equals to 4. And that's it. So I would go with 4. of validation is completed with quiz. Okay. So thank you so much for staying to the end of this office hour. Hope to see you. Try and make sure you conclude your task. Task grading is still ongoing, so don't worry. We are still with two. Some graders are doing with two, some are doing with three. So all tasks will be graded. We just have very limited people doing grading. Okay, just one or two people doing grading, and that's why it's slow. But all tasks will be graded. Thank you so much for staying with me. See you next time. Bye.